On live. Oh, sorry. What up, fam? We're live. What up, Instagram? What up, Facebook? What up, YouTube? Live once again for another week number 23 of Boss Talk, Boss Up Talk Wednesday, week number 23. I'm so excited about that part because when it comes to consistency, when it comes to making things happen, it's so important to be consistent. So, guys, like and share this feed. What up, Randy? What up, boy? What up, Jay? What up, Natalie? All right, we're coming live, guys. See you from Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, all the way from Jersey, as well as Georgia. Natalie is coming in, guys. Like and share this feed. We have a super dope conversation for you guys today about stop muting your voice. We're talking about stop muting your voice today. All right, Natalie, I see you came on. You there? What up, fam? You there? There you go, fam.
Yo, I messed up. I forgot.
You forgot what?
For it. And I'm like, I forgot my headphones. But I got it. I'm gonna have to maneuver through the.
Oh, you got your headphones?
No, I forgot it. I was just, the so good.
It's cool. What up, everybody? Listen, I'm glad you guys coming into the room, guys. We're talking about a super dope topic today. The topic is stop muting your voice. All right, so Natalie, first off, how's your week been going? What's your positive moments from? Oh, I'm all falling and collapsing. What's your positive moments from last week? Let's talk about that. What was your highlights of the week?
Well, it was my birthday on Monday. Your girl turned 42.
Yeah, I missed your birthday.
You did.
I gotta sing to you then. I apologize. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna sing to you and everything.
No, it's fine.
Happy birthday. No, it's funny.
I'll say not here. But it was good. It was a good week. I got to relax on Monday. But you know what? I was telling my son, I said, birthdays set you back. I had like a whole lot of laundry to do the next day. I'm like, I don't know if I could do this, but it was good. It was good to celebrate. It was good to relax. Just getting more clarity around my business and my purpose in my business, and just moving forward with that has been tremendous. Like, I can't ask for anything more this week.
That's a one time for the birthday chick. Listen, that's so dope. I think too is the reason why I love birthdays because it's a great time of reflection. Well, this is how I feel about birthdays because I'm a birthday person. Birthdays are a time of reflection, a time of growth, a time to really just like reset. I feel like you get 2 resets a year. You get the brand new year, you get your birthday. Those are like the perfect 2 times of resets. Now, people have other reset moments too, but I think those are the most profound ones throughout the year where you can really recreate yourself and see what you want. And I think what happens too is it's just a dope experience when you get to reset. Like this weekend was so dope for me. I got to go to Orlando and see one of my former clients / really good friend Ariana get married. And I know she was famous, but I didn't know she was that famous. All the people that was inside the room, it was really dope. But it was cool just to feel that somebody thought enough of you to be invited to their special day when they could invite it, the thousands of people that they know. And I think the dope part about it was too is she's really big on manifestation, her and her mom Ariana, and her husband, they manifested each other, and I love the whole love story, how they manifested love for each other, and it's just a super dope love story. And going to today, what we're talking about is stop muting. And you was on mute this whole time, Natalie. You on purpose?
I know.
On mute?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I'm like, yo, you're on mute. Okay, I'll make sure we know. Stop muting your voice. Now, the thing about it is a lot of times in life, right? It is so easy for you to mute yourself, right? Like sometimes when you were young, I don't know if this was like in my mom's circle, when adults were talking, kids were not allowed to talk. If you try to talk about parents, even if the parent was wrong, you cannot you had to mute yourself, right? Even in class, when the teacher's like, you got to raise your hand to speak, right? And you start muting yourself, even if you have something really juicy to talk about, juicy to say. What I realized is in life, you have to do the opposite. You cannot mute your voice because when you start muting your voice, it is so easy to not walk into your purpose out loud. You become really timid. and you're almost like, well, maybe I should do this. Nah, let me not do it. Or maybe I should launch this. Maybe I shouldn't. But until you take moments, right, to stop muting your voice, the world will never see and know how dope you are. So I'm gonna tag you in, Natalie, on that one.
You tagging me in when I'm just about to get my notes on my pen. Like, this dude about to go in. Oh my gosh, but you're so right. We've been conditioned to mute our voices. We've been conditioned to silence. We've been conditioned to tone it down because they say there's a time and a place for everything, which is true. There's a time and a place for everything. But when do they tell us the time and the place to actually open up? When do they give us that space? They tell us when the time is to shut up, but they don't come back and say, now you can speak, or now you can be loud, or now you have the opportunity to say whatever it is that you wanted. And it's so funny because my daughter, she talks a lot and she says exactly what comes to mind. And today before she went to school, I was like, we're gonna have to learn how to, say certain things and be appropriate.
Natalie, I don't know what cricket service you got right now, but you breaking up heavy. I don't know who ain't paid a bill. Let me call Marinati because somebody ain't paid their bill.
No. It's good. I don't know what's the problem.
Are you on your Wi-Fi? Because you was breaking the real bad, and I know you had some good stuff to say. We want to hear all that oil you about to spill out. All right, we wait for Natalie to come back in. Guys, like and share this feed again. Also, guys, too, Boss Up Boot Camp is here. Now you frozen. Boss Up. Yeah, that's much better. Just start talking a little bit. Now we both breaking up. Okay. Now I said my Wi-Fi searching. Okay, we're gonna log back in and come back in. Let's log out and come back in on Instagram. But we can finish saying your point on StreamYard.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So I was just saying that my daughter, she was like, she just talks. She was like, I don't talk like this at school. She was like, at school, I'm very quiet. So I said, you know what? Because you have a place where you are quiet, you can utilize this safe place where you can just say whatever comes to your mind, and we'll deal with it after it just comes out. Then I said, you know what? Don't worry about silencing yourself here. Don't worry about what did I tell her? I said, don't worry about curtailing your speech here. I forgot the exact word that I used. I said, here's a safe place for you to just open your mouth and let things come, and we'll deal with it as it comes out. But when you go to school, yeah, you best believe, don't be acting like this at school.
All right, I'm logging back into Instagram now too. Yeah, that is so true. I think it's so important to set for kids to set safe spaces for them to be able to communicate, because a lot of times what happens is they feel like they can't talk and use their voice, so it becomes a scary thing for them.
Yeah.
We good. We're back on live. I'm live now. All right, guys. Sorry about that. I don't know what just happened with that whole connection situation. My Wi-Fi wasn't even logging in. All right. Once again, guys, we're talking about not muting your voice. All right, because when you mute your voice, people who need to hear what you have start to lose that, right? So the good part about it is when you start to really start reevaluating what is your silence costing you for your business, right? So what is your silence causing people who really need what you have to produce in the earth? Because what happens is there are people who need to hear what you have to say, right? And yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. We good on this one. All right. So remember, the quieter you are about sharing your gift, and the quieter you are about sharing your gift and your purpose will really start to affect who needs your help. Like, there are people who are literally assigned to us for us to be the instrument that God uses in the earth to really help elevate them. There are people who are literally thinking about they have no way out. Why is life worth living? But they're waiting on you to come forth and to really start sharing your giftings to the world. But until you step up and share, they're missing what you have because you're choosing actively to mute your voice. And what price is someone going to pay because you're muting your voice? Because your voice has value, your voice has weight, your voice means something. Even when you think that your voice doesn't mean anything, your voice can be the breaking point from where people will live or die. And I know it sounds like, oh, that sounds real serious, but it's true.
Oh, I was just taking notes because I'm like, you said your voice can be the breaking point in which someone lives or dies. Oh my gosh. And the Holy Spirit has been telling me this for quite some time. This is why I created the course, Find Your Voice, How to Stand Out in a Saturated Market, available now for only $29. You can click the link in my bio if you want to get access for that. But your voice is so important, and it's the thing that's going to set you apart from everybody else in the marketplace, in the world. But the thing about it is, people think that their voice is limited to their speech, and that's a problem. Your voice is not limited to your speech. Your voice is an expression of your being. So if you are a creator, because you are a creator, I'm sorry, I should say that like that, because you are a creator created in the image and likeness of God, whose voice walked the earth, whose voice was going back and forth in the garden with Adam and Eve. It wasn't a body, it was a voice. Go back and read it. Genesis 1, the voice of the Lord walked the garden. It's actually Genesis 2. We have to now see that our voice is an expression of our being. Your voice can be expressed through your writing. Your voice can be expressed through dance. For Steven Spielberg, his voice is expressed through his movies. He never says a word, but you can hear his voice in his characters that he portrays in the movie. I know someone, Quentin Tarantino, his voice is very unique, that when I see a movie, I'm like, this is a Quentin Tarantino movie. And if it's not, I said it's a copy, because they copied this man's voice. So we keep thinking that our voice is limited to our speech, and it's not. It is an expression of who you are, and finding your voice and not muting your voice is what's going to create the income that you keep searching for. You're looking for money, but you should be looking for your voice.
That's so good. You know what? I love that you said that you're looking for resources, but you're not looking for your voice. You know, I think sometimes because of like social media and sometimes what we're going through, it overshadows so much that we fail to realize that the resources will come when you open your mouth and speak out what your gifting is. Like, it's just like that parent. Let's say you're the kid lost inside the store and your parent calls you, you know immediately, okay, that's my parent. Let me get to attention and kind of find where they are. Because think about a voice. If you're at a store and your parent calls you, you start to follow the voice, right? So what happens is as you start to speak, people will start to follow your voice because there's a certain type of authority and power when you talk. Like when Natalie talks, there's a certain weight that she carries with her voice. When I talk, there's a certain type of weight where it's believable. And that's always been the case for me, where even as a teenager, when I would speak, people will always kind of like they would listen to it, is because there's certain authority that's captured in your voice. So when you send out those sounds into the earth and those sounds into people, people automatically attract to you because there's something about your sound. There's something unique about it. There's something that's like, wow, like I want to hear what they have to say. When you think about so many dope speakers like E.T. the Preacher, you know, Nehemiah Davidson's, Jules Tankers, when you hear all these amazing speakers talk, there's a certain authority that's attracted to you because of their voice. And when you start to think about your gifting, there are certain giftings in you that comes out when you speak, where people want to join what you got just because they hear you talk. You can have a crappy product, but if you can give that good 15 seconds or 1 minute elevator speech about who you are with the authority of your voice, people are attracted to it. So once you take the decision actively to not use your voice and to not express your voice, you start to really lose the potential that you have to grow your brand. Some people, like even so, like I tell people on Instagram with the social media page, that it's cool to post pictures and videos of your product, but people want to know the person behind the product, because we live in a day and age where people sell products and product does not sell people, if that makes sense. Where you will sell your products by using your voice. Like there are people who come to my page not because it's just a food part. They love the fact that I talk in my videos, I'm interactive. They love my stories. My stories be lit. First off, my stories be lit. because I'm always talking, I'm always involved in conversation. People are attracted to you just by what you put on social media. So when you think about your voice, there's power, so much power in your voice that it's healing. It allows people to really go to the next level, because you may say something to someone that may change the whole course of their life. And honestly, they may have heard it several times from other people, but just the way you say it changes a whole vision of how somebody hears it. Like, I've heard scriptures before several times. I've heard, like, you can hear someone say, "You can do it," but it's something about, if Natalie says you can do it, it's like, oh, I can really do this, because my friend said this, and she has that authority in her voice. Like, anybody can say you can make it, but when somebody say it to you and they got that conviction about them, it's so believable that it just draws you in to really see what they're talking about, because it's the conviction and the authority in your voice that really makes people want to follow you.
So let's sit with this conviction part, because that's powerful right there. That conviction, that part of you're not swayed from one thing to the next. Like, you know who you are, you know what time it is, you know what you're called to do, and you move in that aspect of knowing. This is why before you even get to your voice, you have to get to your being. Who are you? What is your identity? Who do you define yourself as? Like, you really have to sit with yourself and think about those things on a consistent basis, on a regular basis, before you decide to open up your mouth and move. So there was a season in my life that I had to shut up. I was just talking just to talk. I was talking because other people were talking. I was talking because that was the thing to do, talk and be seen. But when you're talking and you're not saying anything with conviction, when you're just repeating what other people say because it sounds good, then you really sound like a hollow gong. You have to now get the conviction to know that, or get grounded, basically. That's what conviction does. It grounds you and it puts you in a position. This is who I am, because things are going to change all around you. People are going to change all around you.
Yeah.
When you have a big dream and a big vision, there are people that are going to come alongside of you along certain parts, but because they lack the capacity to go all the way, they're going to get replaced with other people who are part of the vision. And you have to be grounded enough to know who's for you, who's not for you, what to say, how to maneuver, where to go. I mean, what to look at. There's so many elements to it, but that conviction, that understanding who I am, why I am, what I'm doing, is the foundation that you need to move forward in mastery. So now when I tell you, or when Josh tells you, you can do it, we understand from the point of, I'm being human. I understand because I was where you're at. I saw people where you were at. I know how this thing works. I've been there before. I'm telling you, you can do it.
That's good.
I'm not just telling you can do it because I heard it, I saw it, I've walked it, I've lived it, I've walked people through it, I've dragged people through it, I let people go who decided they didn't want to do it, they came back and did it again. You can do it. It's so much more. Those 3 words, and it's anything that we say, but those 3 words are grounded in experience. It's grounded in work. It's grounded in crying, tears, all this stuff. So when we say certain things, the weight comes because we've been pressurized before.
Yeah.
The weight comes because we've been through some things before. The weight comes because we've ate out of, I won't say out of trash cans, because I never actually ate out of a trash can, but I've ate some things that I didn't want to eat because that's all I had to eat. You can do it. You can do it.
That's so good. And that's why muting your voice is so, when you mute your voice, like, people need to hear
mute
you
this
have to,
thing real quick. I'm gonna be right back because my baby is crying. I don't know what's going on with Sadie, but keep going.
Okay. No, I just think the thing about that too is, when it comes to that, you start to really start looking at, you really have to really start to analyze your voice, because when you don't use your voice, there are people who are losing out of so much, so that's why it's so important to never stop sharing your story, never stop sharing your gift, because the Bible says your gift will make room for you. And honestly, at the wedding I went to this weekend, I was just naturally being me, networking, talking to people, and I met some amazing people just because I opened my mouth, and I was just talking about my gifting. So when you are really, when you actively decide to mute your gift, people are really losing out on the story that you have to say, because you may be the story that they hear that really changed your life. And it's so important to be mindful of who you're entertaining and who you're listening to, because sometimes people in your circle will cause you to lose out on sharing your gift, because the more you share your gift, the more people are helped. And sometimes it seems like, oh, why share my gift? Nobody gonna listen to me. Nobody want to experience what I have to experience. But that's the worst thing to do, because every time you share your gift, you don't know who's going to be listening to you. Every time you share a part of your story, you never know who you're going to impact. So it's so pivotal to really, it's so important and imperative to never stop sharing your story, even when people may seem like they're over it. Well, we heard that story before. We'll say it again, because sometimes you may get something different out of hearing the story. And when people want you to kind of shut up about your story, never stop sharing, because the day you don't share is the moment that someone needs to hear what you have to say. When it comes to what I do with my mentoring program, the reason why I started doing my mentoring program with working with young people when I worked at the high school, it started before I went to the high school. One of my younger cousins, he had passed away at a very young age at 18, because of a mistake of being around the wrong people. And so because of that, I'm like, man, how can I share my story so much and create a program where people can be impacted on a daily basis, so where they start to make better choices. But the thing about it is, when I started teaching, I started sharing that story with my mentees, and they were so inspired, they wanted to work with me. And I started to find things about them that they really love to do. But if I would have stopped sharing my gift, if I would have stopped sharing my story, I wouldn't have so many successful mentees, because I was able to convey. My story was able to speak to stuff that there was their reality. Like, there's certain things you've overcame that people are still going through. So because that's their reality, you're speaking directly into it, even though that's not your reality anymore. At one point that was. So once you start to speak over people and start to speak and share your gift, the Holy Spirit will start to touch someone, because they're going through that issue right now, right? And when they're going through the issue right now, you're able to really touch it you trigger a soft spot. And like, he's like, when you go to church, like, when like, did the pastor know my story? Did I tell him? But it's because as you start to open and use your gift, you start to see people are naturally attracted to that part, and then your voice will start to carry a certain type of weight in their life, to where they wanna come out their situation, they want to get your help, they want to really reach those different levels. But the more you like shut your mouth now, and that's one thing to, like, you're just talking randomly. But when it's about sharing your gift and sharing your purpose, people are attracted to it, and people need to hear what you have to say, because the longer you wait to share your gift, the more people are losing on the inside. And I don't want to be responsible for me causing someone not to get the healing that they need, because I'm choosing to be quiet about my gift and not showcase it.
That's good. I didn't even know that about the your 18-year-old. You said your cousin? Was that your cousin? You said the 18-year-old.
I don't know what's going on with you. Let me just mute this one. All right, say it again.
I can't hear you now.
How about now?
Yeah.
You can hear me on StreamYard?
I don't know, because I have StreamYard all the way down, so I won't get an echo. Can you hear me on StreamYard?
Say it one more time.
Can you hear me?
On StreamYard, can you hear me?
Wait, hold on.
What is going on?
Yeah.
We good now? Okay. All right.
I don't know what's going on today. The enemy mad because he know we about to talk. And this is the thing. He's mad because of our voices. Every time I talk to somebody about their voice and opening up their mouth, there's always some kind of obstruction that happens. And don't count it out. For all my believers and non-believers, y'all know it's true, because y'all talk about vibration and energy and all that stuff too. So y'all know the real deal. Like, you understand that when you put something out in the atmosphere, that there's going to be opposition that comes up against you. And it's because of your voice. It's a part of your expression of who you are. You're calling forth things that don't want to come in alignment with what you say. Like, your voice, your words have the power. Your written words, your spoken words have the power to call things into existence that do not exist even now. Like the fact that we're sitting on a couch, somebody had to make a decision, not just to say, I'm going to do it, but he had to make a decision to say, I need someone to help me do this thing. Can you help me do this? What do we need to, like, he had to open up his mouth and share the vision with somebody else and say, I'm thinking about a place where we could sit comfortably and it's higher, it's a little bit elevated than the floor. Because y'all know how it is getting down and up off the floor all the time. Like, that's not easy as you get older. When you're young, just spring back up. When you're older, you can't do that. So somebody had to have in their mind, this is what I see when my eyes are closed. And how do we bring the people together to see this when our eyes are open? Our voice is so powerful. You said you never know who is listening to what you have to say. And I'm glad that you said that, because for a couple of, so I went so-called viral on Instagram, not really, but I got like over 30K views on this one post that I posted. Then 2 days later, I got like 17K on another post. So I'm like, all right, I've broken through. I'm there. I'm in the K's now. You know, the very next day, I couldn't break through 1,000. I was at 100 and something views. I said, how you go from 30K to 100? Still posting. I was like, let me post a similar thing, 100 and something views. So for the next 7 or 8 posts, I did not even break into the thousands. But I had to think about, what's my why? Why am I on Instagram in the first place? And I'm on Instagram to motivate entrepreneurs to keep going, not to give up, because it gets hard. So what does it look like if I'm motivating you to keep going and it's getting hard for me, and I decide, okay, it's getting hard, let me just quit this. I guess they don't want to hear what I have to say. Man, I just kept posting. I was like, another post. Sometimes I posted twice a day. They was not liking it. I said, we're going to keep tweaking and we're going to keep posting. Finally, the thing broke through to a couple of thousand. I said, all right, we getting somewhere now. We back in the thousands. And then finally today, it got up to like 5, or yesterday, it got up to like 5,000. I was like, all right, we back on the upward swing of things. But what if I decided that, oh, I got to the peak, 30K is the peak, and then that's it, I'm done? The person that would have needed me when I posted and only 200 people saw it, that person may not have seen it. The person when I posted and only 22 people, there was a post. I had to take a picture of it. 22 people saw it. I'm like, 22? I went all the way down to less than hundreds. What if that person, and out of that, is so crazy, Josh, out of that, somebody hit me up and said, Natalie, there's been a suicide in my family. I don't know who else I could talk to. Can I reach out to you and book a session? That's the person that we're doing this stuff for. That's why you got to open up your mouth, because there's people out there that are hurting. There are people out there that are in pain. There are people out there that cannot come back from depression until you open your mouth.
That's good. And, you know, I think it's good what you said too about the numbers. I think sometimes too is when you're first starting to share your voice, you cannot be inspired by numbers, because there are a lot of factors that come into play, right? Where, like, if you are concerned about your Instagram likes and stuff, and it feels dope when you get like a little notoriety, but you think about it, it's like, wow, what if the 22 people was the one I needed to reach? Like, even to in the Bible, when it came to sowing a seed, and that woman who gave less than a penny, God said she gave the most today. Where sometimes it's just about, you can't be so concerned about the quantity, but the quality. So when I think about it too, is like, you know, when I always posting and stuff like that, there's one person that's gonna hear your stuff that needs you. They might not always say it, but some people watch from the background. It's like the people that watch from the back of the church. You may not think they're listening, but they may be the main ones putting the work in. You know, it's not always about what are my accolades coming from my speaking. What are my accolades coming from me sharing my gift? Just share your gift, because the longer you wait to produce it, there's so many people who really need what you got to say. And here's another thing too, is about sharing your gift. I think sometimes we just think that we're the only one that God gave that invention to, or that conversation to. Listen, The earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof, and they that dwell therein. So if the earth is full of God, God is going to share his message to more than one purpose. If that was the case, why do we have multiple pastors, multiple things? Like that's like saying, oh, we can only grow pineapples in Florida. What? People go grow vegetables and fruits all over the world, because at the end of the day, if I gotta wait for you to get it, I can get it from somebody closer. You know, that's why they made these like hydrogenation farms and stuff like that, because people need the same thing in masses. So it's just like, you think that because God gave you that gift, you're the only person that can deliver it. That's a lie. More people, that's like we see an invention, right? Oh, I thought about that. Yeah, but you ain't never do no work to produce it. So because you decided to hide your voice and be scared, or to let it slip your mind because you forgot somebody else got the same idea, and somebody said, oh, they stole my idea. They didn't even know you had the idea. Like, people always say somebody stole the idea, but you ain't never produced it. So stop worrying about who's going to take your idea and start producing the idea, because the world waits for no one. Earth waits for no one, and life waits for no one. So the longer you wait to really produce your gift and your calling, there are other people working on it too. You know, like, you think you're the only person, like that's like the debit card. You know, the only person that came with a debit card. You know how many people have that idea in mind? Think about the airplane. You know how many people thought about if they can fly? You know, like, you not they were not the only people to think about the airplane. You know what I'm saying? So when you start to get so hooked on being shy and timid about your gift, somebody's out there working on it. I'm not the only chef. You know how people be air frying and stuff. You know, like, so I think sometimes we get so hooked on, we're the only, like, how many people thought about frying salmon? You're not the first person to think of that, fam. Like, people thought about it, people got that idea, but they never produced it. So the longer you keep muting your gift, the less people are going to experience you, because, or even to somebody else going to get it for you. So it's like a rat race. So I never I know people like, oh, we got to come with a good promotional strategy to get out there. Sometimes you got to get it out there because, and promote as you go along, because you're waiting for the perfect moment. But sometimes no moment is perfect. Sometimes the most chaotic season of your life is the most productive time for you. When I see chaos and all hell breaking loose, I said, oh, something about to break big in my life. So let me just keep working, because, a lot of times too is like, the light is not on you yet. So when you're working in secret, when it's time for your time to shine, if they shine a light on you, what will they see you working on? What will you have completed when it's your time to shine? And your time and your season of being hidden, and you're working on building up your voice, you're working on getting all the tools you need to be successful. When a time comes for your voice to be shined on, will you be prepared and ready for the notoriety? Will you be ready for the blessing? Because there's some things we pray for, but when we get it, we like, oh, I'm surprised that happened. If I speak, if I'm a power speaking being, whatever I say, I expect to see. So I'm going to always start to create the storehouse to put what I'm trying to receive. And so oftentimes when it comes to really learning your gifting and speaking your gifting, what happens is just like, you have to start to prepare to receive the aftermath of what comes is ready to come into your life. There are certain blessings that is ready to come to you, but until you move, you won't receive it. Wait, I have an interest in deaf care industry. Oh, okay. Listen, let him, like, so we had a comment. What up, fam? Listen, when it comes to your gift, when God gives you something, like, don't be afraid to put it out, because you gotta think there's always somebody who wants to hear what you got to say. There's always a need. Like, there's somebody who, this is a real story. There's somebody who literally passed gas in a mason jar, close it up, and he sells that for like 25, 30K it is. And it's so weird. But there's somebody who's buying that. So it's like, you can't ever be afraid. There's always somebody's buying something for somebody. Like, for example, seltzer water. Like, some people don't like it, but some people love it. So it's just like, you can't worry about not liking your stuff. Worry about what need you're doing. If your service or provider, what your provider is going to add value, don't be afraid to shoot out your value, because you just never know who wants what you have. And the quieter you are, you're going to be sitting there looking silly with no manifestation of any gift you have because you've been hiding it.
That's good. That's really good. Man, you said so much stuff. I was writing it down. But let me talk to I'm a rich hipster. First, I want you to think about if this is just an interest or a passion. Because if it's just an interest, it might be something that's fleeting and you might be interested in something later on. But if it's a passion, this is something that's not going to go away. This is something that's just going to fester. And if you don't pursue it, you're going to start what's that word? Ah, resenting yourself. That's the word. You're going to start resenting yourself for not moving forward because somebody else is going to move forward on that, which you have right there, because it's powerful. Now that you've put it out in the atmosphere, you really need to decide if that's what you're passionate about and move forward on it. If it is a passion and not just an interest, what you need to do besides talking it out and talking to people about it is get a survey going. Find out, not just your family and your friends. Listen, we're online. You might as well use what you got. Put a survey out there and ask people what they think about the idea. You can actually target people who have lost someone and be very sensitive about how you're speaking to them and ask them questions about, you're interested in this particular business and this is where you're trying to go into. What would you think about, and just asking them a few little questions. And some people, give them an incentive. If you have an offer already out there, if you have a freebie already out there, say, hey, for this particular thing, like I have a freebie on how to cope with grief for this particular thing. If you can help me, just filling out this, short little survey, that would definitely help. But I'll say start with, is it an interest or a passion? Then find your target audience, who you're talking to, get some surveys going out there, get some feedback, ask people what they think about it, and then start moving forward. Don't sit on it because somebody else is going to use that.
That part. That part. Like even too, it's like the story about I don't know if you saw the founders, the story of the McDonald's store with Ray Kroc. And like literally the McDonald's brothers were genius for their fast food place at Taco Bell, Burger King, all of these places came to visit and really utilize their system. And it was like, oh, just come in and see what we got going on. This just so given. And Ray Kroc comes in and basically you don't even know who the McDonald's brothers are anymore because he basically takes what they're saying and magnifies their voice. Like sometimes where we're going through certain things, don't get me wrong, life happens, right? But sometimes you got to happen to life. When you're really trying to really get growth in your life, you can't say, oh well, like I hate excuses. Like one thing I dislike is people with excuses. I lose interest in a conversation. I'm not a sympathetic person. I'm an empathetic person, right? So when you keep telling me what's going wrong in your life, okay, but what's going right in your life? So what are we going to do about this? And when it comes to sharing your gift and your voice is not that it shuts off, it just gets dimmered down. So what happens is as you're walking through, really your voice and sharing it, it's like that still small voice, like, nah, do this, do this, do this. But the more you keep doing everything outside of your passion and your purpose, what you start to see what happens is your gifting, your voice starts to get dimmer down. I had to this interview that I was recording actually with Chrisette Michelle at this event I did. And she was saying that the bigger she got, the more money she made. Everything was cool, but that still small voice of who Chrissy is was getting just dimmer down, right? And she was still trying to find out ways, how do we still let Chrissy still be magnified to fill out those goals and your dreams? Because sometimes when you are really becoming you start using your voice, there's sometimes people that come along and switch your voice around and they make it what they want because this is what they feel that they should come along. For example, is you talk to your friends and family about your thing and they say, oh, you should do this, 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 and this. I'm one of those people that will say, oh, you should do this, this. I'm one of those people, I know that part because I see vision in people. But I also realize too is I always have to go to the main thing. But what do you think you want to do? Because I don't want my voice to get mixed up with yours when you start doing stuff that's not authentic to your voice. When it comes to your business and your craft, there's some things that we do that's not authentic to us because we're like so not focused on our message. We're not focused on being consistent at stuff. it's so easy for us to get lost in the sauce about certain things. So when it comes to your business and your voice and your expressing that part, you have to be so clear with yourself about what you want to see happen. Because what ends up happening is it's like a tumbleweed. You're just going, or like a tree, you're going all over the place. You're going all over the place. But then when it's really time to have that focus on your goal and your dream, you're just all over the place. So what I realize is with expressing your voice and your gifting, really take time to make some clear goals. Like this is what I talk about with clarity. Like you want to be clear about what you're trying to say. And sometimes you don't get clarity right away. It's by you actively talking that you start finding out who your audience is. Because you may have a dope product that's dope in your mind. But once you get out to the public, they like this blankety blank is crap. But it's not that it's that, but sometimes you have to alter it. Like for example, is there are certain companies that come out now and perfect certain things. Nothing's the right way the first time. Like the first plane didn't fly. So you know what? This is a great idea, but let me keep using my gifting and my voice to create something that may work. Oh, you know what? I didn't know I need wings attached to the side. Okay, I didn't know I need this type of engine or this type of thing. So the more you start to realize is as the more you start to share your voice, it will be fine tuned. But it's good to kind of keep things in mind to keep your goals ahead of you to say, you know what, this didn't work out this time. I'm right. I'm in the right. Like I'll give you a great example. In college, right? A lot of people I went to college with are not chefs anymore, right? Part of that is because they felt that culinary chef, being a chef in the kitchen was the only job there is. There are literally thousands of jobs in food service. Your goal and your passion is still food, but how you express your passion is what's going to get you to the next level. Because even too, for me, I started out by selling dinners and cakes, but I knew I didn't want to stay there. I knew private dining was the way to go. Then I'm like, oh, I want to try and be a chef. Now I started to hear that part. You get what I'm saying? So it's just like, it's okay to be all over the place. You get what I'm saying? It's okay to be all over the place. But the key thing about it is start organizing it. Like when I talk to my clients who have a lot of great, ideas, you could do every idea you have, but it's about the time and the place. What are some things you can do now to squash? What goals can you, like, I write all the things down that I want to do, all the things down that I'm good at, and I create a calendar. Okay, so it's like 2 weeks left of September. What can I start doing now for one of these goals? October's next. What can I do? What product can I put out that's geared around October events? You have breast cancer awareness. You have Halloween. What kind of things can you set up that will gear towards that? So as you start finding ways to really focus on your gifting and your purpose, you start to realize the more you communicate your voice, you have to start organizing it. It's like when you're a kid, you got to organize your thoughts. You got to do the web, like you got to put the web, the topic in the middle, and then draw out the lines of what topics. I still do that. I do that to today. I love me drawing a good web and just organizing my thoughts, because the more you start to organize, the more you start to really learn from your mistakes. You get to improve on them, and then really just put out the better version of your product. Put it out now, but you can always improve on it.
That's good. That's good. And I'm a Rich Hipster said that he's or she's guilty. I don't know if it's a girl or boy, but they're guilty of being all over the place, and they think it's an interest and not a passion. So okay, awesome. So the thing I would tell you honestly, because I was gonna go back to this, is if you think it's an interest and it's not a passion, then you need to go see Chef Jay, because he works with people who are trying to identify their purpose. Now, if somebody's on here and they're like, "Oh, Natalie, I'm passionate about this," then you need to come see me, because I could help you get clarity on how to move forward with mastery
Mm-hmm.
in the marketplace. But if you don't have anything, you can't get clarity on nothing. You gotta go
Yeah.
to Chef Jay. He has to be able to help you pull out what your purpose is, because just because you like something or you're interested in something doesn't mean that that's what your purpose to do. That's what you're going to be passionate about doing. Because when you get into entrepreneurship, it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be it's a treacherous place. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like people think that this is cute and that building a business is wonderful and you can pass it on to the next generation. Yes, all of that is a reality, but also part of it is you're going to be navigating through waters that you've never been through. And there's some
Mm-hmm.
sharks out here that will eat you alive and spit you back out, and you will have nothing. So get your purpose. Figure out what your purpose is. Why do you want to do this in the first place? Why is this such a calling? Why do you feel called to like Chef Jay said, you have 15 different things. Why are you called to all those 15 different things? And how can you unify or bring cohesion to that stuff so that you can move forward? Because you can't do it all at one
Mhm.
time. The reality of the matter is you're one person. You can't have 4 different thoughts in your mind at one time. You literally have one thought at a time, contrary to popular belief, because you think, oh, you have all these different ideas that they come at the same time. They do not. They come one at a time. And so you may need to sit with him and talk with him and say, hey, this is all the stuff that I'm feeling. Help me. Link in his bio. Get with that dude.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so yeah, so I keep taking jobs and quitting because I feel like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. I quit. Maybe I shouldn't say that a lot because I just contracted a job. Maybe I should say this out loud. But that's me all the way. Like, okay, so the jobs I do take, I am passionate about, so I will say that, right? But I think too is you really got to sit down with yourself. You really have to sit down with yourself and just really just have a moment where you just first of all meditate on God's love for you first, right? Because sometimes when you don't know that you love, it's easy to be all over the place, right? So that's the first thing I have to do, meditate on God's love for me. Second step is to really just start make realistic. Let's just write everything down that you're good at. Even if it's 100 items, write everything that you're good at, right? And then start researching with those that you're good at. I would Google every job in that field, every business in that field, because sometimes you may be excited about something, but you're not passionate about that particular thing. Like there are some chefs who love food, but they're not passionate about cooking. They may be passionate about taking photos of food, right? Or you'll find that there's some people who don't really want to be a chef, but they love being a food tester or a food critic, and they love traveling different places to eat and trying different food. That may be your passion because now you're promoting small businesses all around the world. You get what I'm saying? They'll give you sponsorships to
Y'all,
have
he
you
giving y'all the secret sauce.
anybody kitchen, and you can do that. Even too is just like you can just make like you got to find out what works for you. And I think the more you find it out by just taking time just to chill with yourself and just write things down. I'm good at this. And even to every single day in your journal at daytime and nighttime, right? I thank you that I will receive the knowledge I need to receive through my dreams or whatever. And when I wake up with clarity. My mentor, Dr. Sasha Pierce, she writes down every day in her notebook before she goes to bed. And because sometimes you'll manifest it in your dreams, right? Because you got to think, it's like, I'll give you a good example, right? Anybody have a dream that they are like using the bathroom or running their hands in water and they really got to go to the bathroom and they wake up immediately? It's like, that's how real your dreams can manifest. Because you can be in a dream about something totally different, and then later on that day, you can manifest that dream. Like people say, oh, that was deja vu. That stuff is real, but you can create that world by what you meditate on. If you don't know what you have, like your purpose, like start meditating on, what today I'm going to receive I'm going to receive what I'm passionate about. Today, I'm going to learn what's meant for me to do on the earth. Today, I welcome in the opportunity to really find out what I love to do. And once you start to welcome those things in, it will just be like a magnet. It's like when you want to get a new car and you're looking at cars. Once you see that one car you want, you start seeing it everywhere. Like I'm like, wait, I ain't never see this car in the world, but now I'm seeing it all the time. It's because your vision wasn't acclimated because you was all over the place, certain things. But now that you start getting the focus, what you want to see starts popping up every single where. Like I got a Tiguan now. I never knew what a Tiguan was. I never knew what a Volkswagen Tiguan was. And then I went to a Volkswagen dealership. I was trying to get me another Jeep, and now I love the new version of the Tiguan. I love my Tiguan, but it took me zoning in. Like I know I need a car. It's hundreds of models of cars, but because I was not focused on certain things, now that the more you focus on it, the more it starts to pop up. You start to pop out more, and the more you focus, you start to see what you're meant to do. But it takes you really sitting down with yourself to focus, right? And also to welcome in what you're meant to do. There's certain things that are meant for you to do, but if you don't welcome them in, they'll never show up. Like you can have somebody who has $1,000 outside for you, waiting for you, but until you open the door and let them in, you'll never get it. You'll never get it. Like there are checks that's waiting for you to be cashed at the mailbox, but you never go to the mailbox to find it. There are resources that are waiting for you, but if you never welcome the resource, then you'll never get it. So that's why it's important is the more active you get at finding your voice, it'll be such an ease to start sharing your voice. You know, with Natalie, the more active she got about finding her gifting in her voice, the more she started to share her voice, because now it's like, you know, the Bible talks about, you know, he's a light into the path, and the light into our feet, a lamp into our feet, and a light into our path. Sometimes you don't get the whole pathway lit. Sometimes you just get the light until your feet. You just get the little lamp. Okay, this is the one step. Let me take this one step. Okay, you saying do this one. Okay, let me take the next step here. Okay, do this one. Let me take the next step here. Because what happens is, as you start to actively find your voice, the path starts to get brighter and brighter. But until you get on that journey, you're going to be filled with darkness, you know, and it's just like you can't see ahead of you. You know what's going on. But the more you take time to really just take one step at a time, you don't have to rush. Like, I would have never thought that me making that first lopsided cake would lead me to where I am today. I would have never thought that. I'm literally in rooms with people, and I don't even share always the rooms that I'm in all the time, you know, but I'm in rooms with people who really are just so influential, and I'm a part of that room. And it's just like, wow, like it just makes me laugh. Like, God, you are so funny, because they look at me like I'm dope at what I do. And I know I'm good at what I do, but it's just like, wow, like I'm in the league of this league. And it's just a humbling experience, because when you come from an urban environment, when you come through families that, you know, weren't the big proponent of success, you start to realize that, hey, I belong here. But it took me zoning in on finding my gifts that identified the purpose that led me to funding and resources. Because once you get to start tapping into your gifts and your purpose, then, you know, we start to get the clarity portion where Natalie comes into play at. You start to get that clarity where, you know, things that didn't make sense start to make sense before. You know, like my goal is to help you stretch yourself so you see all your possibilities, but then we do one at a time. And then next, you know, you start realizing that 5 of them ideas you have is really one. Like some ideas, when they talk about multiple streams of income, people feel like they got to do 1,000 different things, when sometimes the 7 streams come from one source. As a chef, I have at least 7 streams of income from one business. So as I start to realize that, it took one item that spread out to other things. It took one dessert that spread into dinners, that spread into wedding planning, that spread into decorating, that spread into a season line, that spread into traveling around the world for people, that turned into coaching. You know what I'm saying? But it started with the first thing, which is me saying, Jay, you're gifted with the gift of food. How are we going to run this play? And, you know, I don't know if you remember, oh man, she went to CFCC with us. I can't think of her name, but her son name was like Aaron. I think her son name was Aaron. I think her name was Joyce. So what she said to me one time, she pulled me to the side and she said, you know, Josh, I just love you because you're just like cookie dough. And I was like 16 at this point. I'm like, what's she about? And I was like 14, I think. And she said, you allow God to roll you out any kind of way. And you just allow him to cut you when you need to be cut to get the right formality. But the goodness of God is still in you. Like, your gift is still in you. Your voice is still you, but sometimes you have to be rolled out and allow God to re-roll you the same goodness and to cut you a certain way to fit that mold, because sometimes the Chef Josh from 10 years ago wouldn't be welcome into the circles that he did now. And it's not a bad thing, because I wasn't ready for it. I didn't have the right molding to fit. And it's not, of course, it's meant to stand out, but sometimes the entryway, you have to be trimmed to get to that level. So for example, when you're like cookie dough, allow God to just roll you out. And sometimes when you roll out dough, you start to incorporate all the leftover ingredients, right? What I mean by that is, like, even when I'm mixing, let's say if I'm seasoning like something, right? I'm seasoning chicken, right? Natalie, you look so into this conversation right now. So let's say I'm about to season chicken, right? The first thing after you pour the seasoning and whatever liquid you're using to mix it around is next key is mixing it up. So what happens is, sometimes the reason why life is so haywire, we haven't taken time to really marinate in the gifting of God on our life. We haven't had taken time to let God marinate his love on us. We haven't taken time to allow our spirit to really focus on what God has for us, because it's a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit. It's all over, but we haven't take time to really just move all the flavor in, so we can be the one balanced person that God made us to be. And we're unbalanced when we flavorful in this part, but dry in this part. We haven't allowed the seasoning of God to mix all over us. We haven't allowed the gifting to flow through us. So when it comes to be presented as a finished product, because we didn't take time to really mix thoroughly, you'll start to realize that, hey, it tastes real flavorful over here, but it's unseasoned right here. So the more you start to work on your gifting and your voice, you start to see that, you know what, no, I am good at this, but you know what, let me sit time and marinate. Let me marinate, because you know, if you don't marinate that good food, it's gonna be flavor here and flavor in this area that ain't it. So you have to marinate in just the process of your thoughts, marinate in just your giftings, marinate in, because once you start to marinate, you start to really see what can go here, what can go here, and you'll be a better, well-rounded individual, and you'll really create a life full of purpose.
To add to that would be get around a group of people, a community of people who understand the power of their voice and who can amplify your voice as well. And we have a community already created for you called the Boss Up community. And so if you go to bossup.today, you can get access to the tickets to join us in the conference that's coming up October 21st and 22nd.
Yep.
Or 21st to the 23rd. Yep. October 21st to the 22nd. So that you can amplify your voice, that you can learn how to master your message, so you can learn how to show up on social media as your authentic self, not replicating or duplicating anybody else. Because if you are a carbon copy of a great person, you're still not great enough. You gotta be your best self. So join us, Boss Up Today. It's in October. You still have time. The tickets are very well priced. That's one thing I love. The tickets are very well priced, and today's price will not be tomorrow's price. In the next Boss Up will not be the same price. So you better get on at the ground floor, at the ground level, and get access to all of this amazing information. This man just dropped all of the sauce. I'm like, hopefully y'all ain't got y'all pens and papers. For real, he dropped all of the sauce. It was, for real, I'm a rich hipster, fire. Like, he's telling you how he went through the process to get where he is today. But what you don't realize is you can accelerate it by getting around the right people, by submitting to the right people. Get the right coach in your corner to help you accelerate this process. You don't have to do it alone, and you don't have to go slow. Get with us, Boss Up today.
And that's what we pride ourselves on, is a community. The more you're in community, the more you surround yourself with community, the more you're able to grow. I realize that, like, it doesn't have to be lonely at the top. I don't agree with that. It doesn't have to be lonely at the top, but create that circle. And sometimes feel like you don't fit in, but when it's right for you, the right group comes along, you're gonna fit perfectly right in. Like I love dealing with the so-called rejects. I love dealing with that, because what happened is just like, listen, give me 30 days. What's rejected was also one man's trash is another man's treasure. So the thing about it too is, whoever told you that you're trash, you're garbage, you're not good enough, you're stupid, you're this, you're that. I love taking in those people, because you know what? Once we start putting that work on you, and you start really just to change your garment, and to start really just take off the old garment, put on the new you'll see such a difference in your life. We really want to help people grow and pivot and be successful. And I want to just sign up for the link. Click the link in the bio for Boss Up tickets. If you're looking for coaching for Natalie and I, just click our links, and we're really happy to help you. And I just hope you guys have a super dope day. This week is going to be prosperous. This week is going to be whole. This week is going to be the best week of your life so far. You're going to receive connections. You're going to find your purpose. You're going to receive everything that you need to receive, because success belongs to you. All right, it's time to boss up. Have a good week.